Boom, 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 boom. What you gonna do when I know I just you? Yeah. Oh God. You know what? You want to know another red flag for me? Another red flag for me is if you're too much of a conspiracy theorist. You know, we could definitely shoot this because we've all been lied to. But at the same time, if you can tell that I'm not buying it, and it happens to be an argument that's against me anyway, don't try to force me to believe it. Don't try to convince me. You may be right, but let me find out on my own, because that triggers me to thinking, well, what else would this mother try to force me to believe or do? Another red flag for me is if like a dude talking, you and somebody talking and they talking real spicy, and he still hasn't asked you what your name is. That's another red flag, because he doesn't care. Oh my God, what happened to Kevin? Okay. Chill, I'm not laughing. What? It was part of his legacy. You like to bust jokes, we bust jokes too, baby. What it do, what it is? What it do, what it is, y'all? It's your girl Black Pop, aka Soda Baby, aka Asuka. Hanging out today in So Talks to V, and today we're going to be talking about the passing of Kevin Samuels. And you want to know what's so interesting about his passing? It made me realize, usually when someone passes, you're in hindsight thinking like, dang, I wish I would have spent more time with them. I wish I would have appreciated them more. And it just made me realize I never liked to begin with, because, the only reason why I would say, oh, I agree with Kevin Samuels, is to sound like I know what logic is and I know what I'm talking about, just because it's logic and statistic and numbers. No, you don't get to disrespect me in the name of truth. So let's get into this conversation. Recently, Kevin Samuels passed away due to cardiac arrest while in between the cheeks of a spicy Latina Mexican taco meat on Cinco de Mayo. Ain't that about it? God is a funny mother, and I mean that literally. Let's get into a word. Let's get into a word, because he's laughing too. He said, and the Lord said unto thee on Proverbs 1:26, everybody turn your Bible pages. He said, in turn, I will laugh when disaster strikes you. I will mock when calamity overtakes you, meaning I will laugh and watch you suffer because you're just a dark-spirited person. And also, let's get into Jeremiah 17:9. The heart is deceitful above all things and beyond cure. Who can understand it? And what took out Kevin Samuels? His heart. And it's just so hilarious to me, because it's the irony of it all. How you gonna die in the of a whore that you ain't even know the preference? And she out here trying to get $5,000 off of interviews, profiting off of your death because she didn't care about you. And people are trying to shame Black women and say that we're happy and rejoicing in his demise because we can. And everyone knows it's not even because, that he passed. It's because of the kind of person that he was. Yeah, you can tell the truth, but there's it's just like having a bully at school who tells you that you're fat every day and makes you cry. Yeah, you may lose the weight, but you're still going to be traumatized. And this is why you can't speak beyond yourself, because people cannot wait to see shit happen to you, especially in platforms like this. This is who he was. And your legacy dictates the response that you get to how people react to your passing. And unfortunately, it had to take his passing for us to see that these people on the internet are not who you think they are. And ever since he passed, it's been a lot of that I've been seeing floating in the algorithm of my timeline of unrealistic stuff that just because you're an influencer or you make a certain amount of money, you think you could talk on certain things, but it's mostly average 9-to-5ers that are really watching majority of this stuff, and this is why we're so confused. But anyway, let's get into this clip of finding out that Kevin Samuels was renting a room, but he's so high quality. No, we get into it.
So Kevin was out here renting rooms.
I've done nothing.
Can I speak, please? When the power bill spiked, you sent me communication after communication after communication, trying to make me responsible for it.
Not you responsible, the whole entire house responsible, Kevin. Since the stay-at-home notification of COVID, everyone's working from home. The power, the water, the gas is exponentially... No, it's not harassment. You know what, Kevin? Just recording Kevin Samuels moving cardboard again from out from under his car. This video will be submitted to the HOA for repercussions of the removal of his automobile from the premises. I got all the spots with all the oil all over them, bud. I don't care. I don't care. The oil is right all over the place.
And don't get me wrong, it's nothing wrong with renting a room, but if you're not living like that, don't talk like that. And sometimes I look back in hindsight, I'm like, did I go too in on men at any point? Like, because it's like at certain stages in life, you're like, oh man, it's not really that's not really what I thought it was. That's not really what I thought. And you know, like I said, your legacy determines the response you get from when people hear passing. And let's hear what his daughter had to say about his passing.
That I've been wanting to talk about for a very, very, very long time, especially when I was like really at the peak of my career in network marketing, because you get so many people who talk to you about their problems, their life issues, going through depression and anxiety and just all around just life. And it's always been that thing where I just felt like I could not talk about because I was really just putting other people before myself. I was trying to protect the image of my dad, not just because he is a figure in the community and back that far. But what I do always remember is that I always felt like I was second. I always felt like I didn't matter. See, look, I'm about to cry. And I told myself I'm not gonna cry about like me and my dad not having a relationship anymore, but just talking about some of the things that have affected. My dad was physically there, but he was never mentally or emotionally there. And that is an issue within itself. I'm not going to talk about how my dad grew up because I have no idea. Every time I've tried to talk to him to get him to open up so that I can understand him, he just made jokes. Like I remember a couple of months ago, I was like, Dad, you know, did you ever deal with any traumas growing up like that made you who you are? And he was like, well, you know, that one time your Uncle D, he stuck me with a diaper pin when he was changing my diaper when I was like 2. Like he just takes things as jokes. I don't know if it's because as how most men are, they don't like to open up. I don't know. I really don't care because I just feel like what you deal with growing up.
She tried to ask her dad about certain things, you know, about traumas, and this man over here trying to give advice to people about, oh, go to therapy. Yeah, whatever.
You have the ability to decide how you're going to use that. You can use it to hurt people, or you can use it to say, you know what, I don't want to instill that in the people in my life. And you just keep it moving. So I primarily spent a lot of time at my dad's mother's house growing up because my sister didn't like going over there. She hated it. And I loved it because not only did I just absolutely love my grandmother and her husband, but because I was the only one there, I always got the attention there that I did not get at home. So I felt loved. I felt all of that. And when my grandmother died when I was 10 years old, I just became really depressed. For 9 years, I dealt with depression. I dealt with a lot of anxiety. I used to have panic attacks like in my sleep, waking up, just feeling like I couldn't breathe. And it just was really bad because I had to watch her disintegrate, like literally. She had pancreatic cancer. And she died about 2.5 years after she was diagnosed, so it wasn't anything fast. And I think sometimes the slower deaths are just as bad as the fast ones because you literally watch somebody get really, really bad. I became suicidal because I just felt like the one person that I never had to question their love for me was gone. Yeah, I just always felt like I was second. One of the things that my dad used to do that really bothered me, and he actually laughed about it in Sunday's incident and basically kind of threw his hands up as if it was like, whatever, like that's what, he literally said, that's what you're mad about. I remember growing up, he grabbed me by my hair, and in the midst of doing that, threw my head up against the car window. And I just remember thinking to myself, what did I do wrong? And you're talking about somebody, I didn't even get whoopings, I didn't get punishment, I didn't get grounded, I didn't get any of that. Because I was a good kid. I had a smart mouth sometimes. Because I was just too smart for my own good, but I was a good kid. So to not even get whoopings and to have something like that happen was really traumatic. And I remember when we got home, when I got out the car, he threw me up against the car. Probably one of the reasons why I have a bad back. My back is horrible. And that was that. I just remember hating him and feeling like the person that's supposed to protect me is not.
Hearing what she said about her father's trauma, now I'm like, okay, I'm starting to have a drop of compassion for Kevin, because only God knows how much more trauma that he didn't speak about. And my heart goes out to anyone who didn't have their father around, because I don't know what that's like. You know, till this day, I still feel like his princess. And it's just like, yo, man, if you're like, I know, like, black men, they know how to be men, but everyone doesn't know how to be fathers. And even though there are certain things that were kind of awkward for my dad, like as far as emotionally wise, I understood that, but I just kind of thought it was hilarious because he did take great care of me. And even growing up now, I'm like, my sense of humor, I'm like, I know I get that from my dad because he always made me laugh. And, you know, I can only count on two. My dad only put his hands on me twice in life, and it was for very valid reasons. One time I was 7 years old and I tried to climb off the balcony because it looked so close, and we lived on the 3rd floor. He caught me right in the middle of it, yanked me off that damn thing, whooped me good. And the other time he whooped me, how old was I? I was like, I think like 15, getting caught stealing. My parents provided for me, but you know, everyone goes through that time where it's like, you know, you really want something and you don't even care what they think and you just take. I definitely did used to steal from my parents. Don't try to act like you were 100% a saint, you know, but rest in peace, Daddy, I love you. And rest in peace, my mom as well. But like, I shouldn't even be laughing, but it's just like I was loved. And that's why I have the spirit I have. I wish they were around sometimes because I feel like they left a little too soon, but I know God he lets things happen for a reason. And till this day, I still feel like his princess. You know, and everybody knows, I don't know, well, depending on what background you come from, like, even times when I would tell my dad I love you, like, it would be so funny because it's so awkward to him because I know that he loves me, but in African households, telling your parents that you love them is a weird thing. It's like, if you tell them that you love them, it's like, what? Love? Like, and even when my dad was on his way passing, and I would say that, he would say it back all the time because we both knew that he was on his way. But I digress. Fortunately, His legacy will never be respected. It's only going to be remembered as a meme and a cackle, just like the irony of how he went out, you know, because you ain't lived nothing that you actually was talking about. How you over here telling people to go to therapy and you have an estranged relationship with your daughter? You're unmarried. You wasn't living on your own. You was renting a room. What else? You died of a woman that you didn't even know, who's out here trying to get $5,000 off of your death. There's so many ways you can tell somebody to get money and lose weight. It's only so many times you can tell someone that, you know, it's people out here on My 500-Pound Life that's outliving you simply because they have a good heart. While Kevin was over here trying to tell people to lose weight and get healthy, you wasn't looking after your own. And everybody knows men don't like going to the doctor. The only time that they know that if their girl is clean, that they're clean. Which lets me know he disguised bashing black women under health when it's really about aesthetic and vanity. And however, I do have to say this is partially black women's fault because y'all was calling in. And you know what this show is about. And it shouldn't take Kevin Samuels to embarrass you to finally realize that you need to lose weight or do certain things. Because if it took that, I don't know, in my personal opinion, I don't know if you really did it for yourself or did you do it to get a man. Because when it's for yourself, it's more genuine, in my opinion. And we can respect those who are grieving, but people also need to respect the people that he hurt while he was alive. The only thing I could say I respected Kevin Samuels for was bringing women back to reality. That if you know, that Instagram and the illusion of makeup has women thinking that every day has to be prom when it doesn't, you know, and that it is okay to date in your league. What would you really be without your lashes, your wigs, and your nails? You know, but at the end of the day, that's just what makes a woman. So I don't know if I really could respect that, because you rather see me done up than just see me looking more masculine every single day. You know what I mean? This is why we're women, and this is what makes us women. And even in the fact that he knew to base his channel off of women shows us that we need to know the power that we have. Women run the internet. And I just want to encourage all women, and especially black women, to know your power and embrace that power, which is your femininity, which is being a woman, because it's the reason why we don't have the need to go and conquer and rule lands, because we already do. You know, nothing can come forth to life without a woman's body. Nothing can come forth to life without the feminine aspect. We can create and destroy. And, you know, it's not about, oh, we're better than whatever than men, but it's just what is. You know, I don't know how else to explain it. Because when you already have something, you don't need to flaunt it. And unfortunately, when we flaunt our power, it shatters the illusion of patriarchy. And patriarchy, how I see it, it's in place to help. It makes men want to help women preserve that feminine energy. That's if you want the help, you know. Some women do want to do things on their own, but some women see the benefit in preserving their energy, because if it was up to me, girl, and I came across the right person, I would be home doing all my YouTube videos, taking nail clients. You know, I'm always going to be biased to my own benefit. I don't always have to be right. Sometimes some truths don't need to be said, because it ruins certain illusions that have good things going in order. I will always change my rhetoric to my benefit if I have to. And us even being in the age of information, and all the truth spilling out, and all the cans are out the worm each day by day, and every day we're asking ourselves, why is everyone going so feminine? Why is everyone turning so feminine? And the truth is, it always started with us, and it's always going to end with us. You know, James Brown lied, baby. And we can see that now. And at the end of the day, I feel like the world is safer when it's because there's more women than men, because who knows how animalistic and dangerous. If it was equal men, equal women, I don't know how, girl. And it's like the more men spread their seed, because of the fact that a man can get more than one woman pregnant at one time, you getting 5 women pregnant, you're doing the job of 5 men. So of course there isn't going to be a need for more men because you're doing your job as a man. There's a lot of men out here, but the only thing that men haven't really defined was how to be a father. So ladies, please understand your power and understand that with great power comes great responsibility. And I feel like what also could help with that power is toning down the thirst online, because I feel like when you give a nigga too much and he thinks that he can have his way in certain ways, they don't do what they're supposed to do. They don't know how to act. Men are always trying to seek out something that they will never have. This is why there's so much need for lust and greed, and they have to conquer women after women, build business after business. That's even if they're even doing that, because building businesses and getting money and seeking power is just as equivalent to getting a woman. That's why when a man sleeps with you, it's like, oh, got what I needed. And to you, it's like when that happens, you realize it wasn't the right person because it depends on what you're doing it for. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. What are your thoughts on Kevin Samuels passing? Do you think this was a true cardiac arrest case, or do you think that someone took him out? Because there are people out here that are saying that he was took out by the same that he was criticizing. You got that power. Yeah. Who do you think has the power? Men or women? I promise I'm not starting shit. Anyway, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at It's Black Pop. So talk to me back at page. We're going to get into the next video. I'm out.